What's going on? It's yours truly, Nicholas Natt, and I want to come and talk to you about a message on ways that you can optimize your human performance and definitely your overall goals and fitness. And so, I'm not sure how your New Year's goals may be going. It's early February. Many of you set some goals. Hopefully, those things are still in motion. If you've had some obstacles, I first congratulate you on that because that's definitely part of the process. If you are subdued by these obstacles or the friction in your goals, stay focused and definitely sit back and enjoy this conversation because this is for you. So, I want to take a few minutes to talk about something that I think can be beneficial, whether you're on one end of the spectrum or the other. If you're just starting out and you're in this resolution, or if you're just in the position where you're trying to become healthier and this is kind of a new game and you're trying to figure out how to make this a full lifetime balance so you can be consistent, or if you're over here and you have definitely have experience in the gym, you've worked out before, things of that nature. Regardless, everyone in between, this is going to give utility and value to you. So this has to do with mindset. Now, before we get into mindset and we start talking about what Goku has to say about mindset, there's an important thing that we need to address, and that's this. Most people think about mindset the same way that they think about emotions. And the reality is that they're actually different. Emotions, a lot like weather, change in a given situation. If you're in Colorado, that instance, that situation changes by the minute, right? One day we could be at our highest. We could feel good about the situation. Maybe good things are beginning to happen. And another day, you could have some unexpected event. Maybe it has to do with your finances, relationships. Maybe it has to be with a disappointment of what results you're expecting to see in your body, but they're not happening. Regardless as to why, many people will feel as a response to whatever the stimuli is that's happening, and then that feeling becomes an indicating variable on what they should do. When people think about mindset, they often think of the same thing, and it's like, oh yeah, that's something that you have in your head and basically dictates the way that you think. Mindset is something that can shift. It can be molded. It can be a good seed that you plant, but you need to pour into it, and it can propagate good value for you and certain tools like discipline or self-discipline. It can also help with courage. It can also help with deploying faith. It can help with creativity. It can help with a number of things. So the reason I talk about mindset is because it's something that a lot of people think that you just adopt and then you either have it or you don't. And it turns on like emotions. If you feel good, you're going to do good things. If you feel bad, you're likely going to fall into this temporary state of depression or even long-term depression, or chronic is what we call it. And that persists and it plays out for whatever timeline. Mindset is a lot like a muscle. Like Cartman said, a muscle. Okay. So when you think about a muscle is developed and a muscle builds strength based on the ability for it to have support, an mTOR signal, based on the nutrient value of the food that you're eating, whether that's coming from the form of carbohydrates, it's coming in the form of obviously proteins or fats, aka macronutrients, and then obviously the type of exercise. Are you putting yourself in a state of softer movements like just day-to-day physical activity, or extreme exercise like strength training or hypertrophy to break the muscle and overall have that rebuild? The point is that we all know what that's like. We can understand how that works and how that plays into our body. Well, mindset is a lot of the same thing. When you think about the types of characteristics that you want to deploy, or that you want to emphasize, or you want to enhance, the important notion is to remember that the only way to build that is to actually work on it, right? And so if I am a runner and I want to increase my length of time, let's say I'm another runner and I'm not so concerned about increasing my length of time and how much I can run, although there is value there, but I want to increase my speed. The types of exercises that I'm going to spend an enormous amount of time doing, although they're running, are going to be very different. Well, when you're building mindset, it's important to deploy a number of things that could actually help you cultivate that mindset. One of those being resilience. So resilience is, in short term, being able to persist through hardship when you don't feel like it. And so as a sports player, right, there's many times when we figure out that we have to be resilient. And a perfect example of deploying this resilience is, let's say that there's something that's struggling, right? You're going through hell and you're struggling and you don't feel good and your team is getting their asses kicked. Okay. Resilience is the next time you step out on the field or the court, are you going to show up with the same intensity that you had and work as hard as you possibly could when the game started and the score was 0-0? Or are you going to let the score and the atmosphere of what's happening around you influence how much you're willing to exert? Most people act based on how they feel. And it isn't until you begin to work on these types of characteristics in these situations when it really counts and when it really matters that you actually begin to sharpen your tools. So when we talk about deploying patience, yes, we can learn to be more patient and we can do things like sit in the moment and breathe and bring down our anxiety or the emotions that are getting us riled up. But the important thing to remember is that putting yourself in situations where you have to be patient, traffic at the grocery store when you're waiting in line, if you're in a position when you have to hold the door open for somebody and they're taking a long time to get there. These are just fundamental examples, but they're a perfect opportunity for you to actually think to yourself, oh yeah, this is actually how I'm building patience the same way that I would be building a muscle in the gym by doing a push-up or doing sit-ups or by doing a chest press, whatever that actually is. And so when you think about mindset from here on out, there's a multiple layers on how, and the next time I'll make another video talking about the difference in the types of mindsets that you can have. But when you want to build the mindset, which is going to be the framework and how you look at the world, you have to understand that it's not dictated by the emotions you feel. Those you cannot stop. You're going to feel embarrassment or joy or dissatisfaction or disapproval or happiness or elation. Those are all going to happen based on stimuli and the things that are going to happen to you. The important part is to remember that, like looking through sunglasses, whether they're the red lens or the blue lens, the kind of mindset you have is going to give you directive and it's going to allow you to respond to the things that happen to you, ultimately to generate the kind of results that you're looking for long term. So hopefully this was a great video. If you have any questions, I highly recommend you reaching out. How can you do that? Great question. First thing, definitely go and click the subscribe button. It allows for me to get information from highly motivated and inspired individuals like yourself who definitely are looking to find different tools and hacks to better their life and to ultimately achieve their results. Second, definitely feel free to go and download my ebook. Doing that will put you in my community. I'll have a chance to put you into the newsletter and we can start some conversations there. Lastly, reach out to me on a message. Doesn't matter which platform. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, obviously over email, and even here on the YouTube page. And then you can have a conversation. I would love to hear about how I could be a benefit to you in answering some questions you might have or helping you circumnavigate the obstacles in your life. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Both of my side guests, Goku and Cartman, say thank you. Signing off.